Welcome to my cake kitchen. I am Gladys, and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate cake decorating easily. We're back continuing with our baby shower cake. Ignore the fact that I've lost my star here. I've got to get myself a new apron. What's wrong with me? Right, we're back to continue our baby shower cake. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I started a series where I baked a cake for a baby shower. We filled it yesterday, covered it in ganache. There was a moment of confusion and uncertainty, but today we're back to continue with the cake. I'm going to bring the cake right on screen for you, right? If you see the previous video, you would have seen how we covered the cake up until this point. I've gone ahead and applied a little bit of butter on it, which will serve as a glue. Yesterday, before we finished, I was like thinking to myself, I actually didn't want to make it a fondant cake, but I've given up on it. We're covering it in fondant. We're going to apply simplistic floral decorations to it, and we are going to finish it off with a handmade old baby fondant detail over here. It's a very simple cake that is for family, so I thought I would use that as an opportunity to finish this tutorial. There is a lot to get through in terms of rolling fondant, covering a cake, and actually aiming for my best work whilst on a live. So bear with me if I'm not super interactive, because the weather is a little bit warm here in the UK. It has a cold tint to it, but it is sunny outside, which means that if you know anything about weather and cakes, if this cake defrosts over here, I'm not going to be able to cover it easily. So for that reason, I'm not going to be able to chat a lot with you. I'm going to get on with the task at hand. And then when I'm done with the most tricky aspects of the tasks, we can talk. Now for the fondant covering, this is a 6-inch cake standing about 6.5 inches tall. It will serve up to 24 if you follow the serving recommendations. I am using my local supermarket branded fondant. There's not much I'm going to do about it. If you're a beginner, I will tell you, fondant is a little bit tricky to work with. So do yourself a favor and get yourself some good quality fondant which will not tear. I don't know how this fondant is going to turn out for me using it on, but with over 10 years experience, I'm sure I have some tricks up my sleeves. Because the weather is a little bit warm, I am not going to handle the fondant too much. As you can see, I have just molded it together. Normally, you are almost like expected to knead the fondant. I haven't done that because the weather is a little bit too warm and I don't want to be handling the fondant too much. So all I've done is mold it together so that it's all in one shape. And then I'm rolling it out, okay? I'm just trying to roll it out. The cake is fairly small, so I should be all right. What you saw me powder around is cornstarch. Now, I know my regular people are in the chat, and if you're joining me on replay, hello there. Welcome here. I am Gladys. I love cakes. I know there is unknown in the chat. There is RD. There is Tapita. I can see you all from the corner of my eye, but unfortunately, I am so scared of fondant, you know, people. I only do this for you people, okay? I don't like fondant. I don't. But I took on this cake just so that I can use that as a tutorial. So here we are. I'm probably going to fall on my face flat about it. But, you know, falling on my face flat is something I do a lot over here. So people, you're welcome, okay? Just taking one for the team. Look at me. I've gone white already. It's because I'm in such a haste to get this done. And guess what I didn't do? Gosh. Guess what I didn't do? Kind of feel like I was just wanting to get... Okay. fondant smoother. 2 of those. Right, now we need a fondant smoother to go over this. You like how I roll it out with the pin? Thank you. It's not my favorite thing to do. It's not very fun. It's a lot of work, especially when you're covering bigger cakes. It's actually a lot of work, and I don't like it very much, but I've got to work with what I've got. So here we are. I'm gonna bring the cake back, and you need the cake to be very stable. Okay, I am eyeballing this a lot. Right, first of all, as soon as you cover your cake, you want to make sure you secure the top ends, because otherwise the weight will drag the cake down. Okay, and then you just pull out the skirt, and then okay, it's a lot of work. I do not you're going to be seeing my head more than what I'm doing, but bear with me. Okay, so you pull the skirt out, and then you dab the fondant in. Look, I never thought in my life I would be covering a cake in fondant publicly. But you know what? You people have seen me. Okay, right. And then I'm moving it round. And then we are moving it all the way around. First of all, the tricky thing about covering a cake in fondant is that if you don't get the width of your fondant right, it will weigh the cake down and it will cause tears. Right? Okay. And if you get it too thin, it can equally cause issues for you. But in the warm weather, your best tip is not to handle the fondant too much. Okay, so over here, this is the last bit. So I'm going to have to do this rather sensitively. You can see we have excess fondant. This is 1 kilo of fondant for right, we made it. Even if there are imperfections, you can, with even the imperfections, you can even them out. Look, and mind you, the quality of fondant work also depends on the type you're using. For supermarket brand, I'm not mad about it because they are not known to be the most efficient. You have to almost count on your experience as a cake maker to count on those. So I am so happy. And I'm not looking for a super polished look to this cake because sometimes intention matters. What you are looking to achieve with your cake matters. But this is a fairly simplistic cake that I am not looking to polish and get clean, fine lines and edges to it. So right, for a beginner, here's something to say. With over 10 years experience, I would flip this over. I would try and get a straight edge here. If you're a beginner, don't go for that. It is technical to do. And the more you are rubbing on your cake, especially if you're using buttercream, the more you are upsetting it and it will fall apart. You will not get the clean edges and you'll find that the edges of your fondant will break. So if you're a beginner, here's a good tip. At this point, you can actually curve out the edges of your cake by so doing. Now, that is not an exactly fine, crisp line, but what you're doing is you're going for a classic look. If you look at some of the vintage classic fondant cakes, they did not have the modern lines because the clean lines are very modern. Okay, so if you're a beginner, look, your hands are your friend. By doing this, you are almost, I think a part of me has kind of gone back to loving vintage looks to cake. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, after watching this video, go back and look at vintage fondant cakes and you will see. And this is fine, okay? As long as the cake is polished. So I'm going to take out the excess. I started with 1 kilo of fondant because with fondant, you are always going to be better off having more than less. And I think I'm going to be super pedantic by measuring how much we have left as excess so that we know how much we used. Now I'm going to transfer this over onto over here. Then look at how it looks easy, and I tell you it is easy because I have a little bit of experience. But I know this is just an encouragement to my beginner people. If you're just starting, okay, progress is always going to be better than perfection. Progress. So aim for progress. Your very first fondant cake that you cover is probably going to feel like a tall task, but don't give up. Keep pushing at it. And then you'll see what I'm doing here is just using a little bit of the fondant to polish the surface, just so that any bumps on it are evened out nicely. Now, here's something you should know. You are never going to get a polished cake if the base of the cake is not polished. If you didn't cover your cake well in ganache or buttercream and it is uneven, you are going to get an uneven looking cake. The reason being, fondant cannot fix the problems that are already existent on a cake. So if you want to cover a cake or you want to get a polished cake, you have to spend a lot of time on the base cake, which is the cake itself, because the fondant is only an extension of the cake. And by the way, there's a little bit of imperfection here. I'll tell you what I would do with that. With the decorating process, you will be presented with challenges. Now, with this little thing here, little imperfection here, if I was presented with a cake where a customer definitely the cake was very bare, I didn't have anywhere to hide the imperfection, I will have to cover that. And covering that has a few different options. The extreme being I have to strip the entire fondant and cover it again. Okay? It's part of the process, which is why I chose to use butter as my glue, because butter helps the fondant adhere to the cake, but butter will strip easily without leaving stickiness on the cake either. So it's easy. It's better than water. People spritz water. Water and fondant is not my thing. I would rather go for edible glue, but edible glue will stick on properly, and then when you're trying to strip it, because of the moisture, you're going to have difficulty. So wherever possible, I try to avoid the possibility of having to strip a cake. But have I done it before? Yes, I've stripped cakes multiple times to recover. Now, if you are a beginner, it can be frustrating. For most of us, it happens anyway. So if you're a beginner, here's a tip. If some imperfections develop, realign or reset your objectives. And for instance, if your decorations can cover the imperfections, use that as an opportunity. So for me, for instance, because the cake is going to have and this is just a fondant sticker, the family friend is going to put their own topper on it. So I just made this just to bring the baby shower theme to light. Because we're going to have this, I'm going to stick it up front the cake, and it's actually going to be covering the imperfection. Now, if I didn't have the imperfection, would I be choosing that particular pointy stick, the element? Not necessarily. But now I have to incorporate my decorating decisions surrounding the imperfections that occur. So you know what? I have even made a short video saying there's no perfect cake. A perfect cake is how you adapt with your decorating circumstance. But you know what? Cake decorating is a progress work. You'll have to obsess about it. You have to spend time and time again. I cannot train you to be a perfect cake maker. I could never do that. I could guide you. I could teach you, I could support you, but progress and perfection is achieved by the consistency of work you put into practicing day in and day out. And I tell you what, maybe I'm an old one who is obsessed about cake, but as of 2 a.m. last night, I was still stood here. You know what I was doing? Oh well, I have the evidence to show. I was baking muffins, okay? 2 a.m. Never mind, I was here earlier on a live where we did this, okay? I have the evidence to show, okay? And then after that, there are some of you that I communicate with off the platform when it comes to the subject of cake. And one person contacted me. I was talking cakes thereafter. They will tell you. And then after that, I had to come back here and prep, because by the time I come to shooting a video, the prep work, organizing ingredients, doing everything, is still cake focused. So even after I closed my live, I was still in cake mode up until what, 2 a.m. And by the way, you'll see the video out shortly, the muffin video, not this weekend. This weekend is a tips video. We are back to baking basics. Episode 3 is the muffins. And I'm kind of trying to juggle creating the long form content, the lives and the shorts. All of that is an everyday hour by hour process, right? So I go to bed at about 4 a.m., 9 minutes past 4 a.m. And guess what? By 10 a.m. I was already up. Guess what I was doing? Editing the same video that I'd been filming up until 2 a.m., right? Just so that that video is out sometime next week. I have barely finished 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. I was editing. Once I was done at 1 p.m., I had to shower, get ready, attend to my son, do all the things, and then prep and come back on a live. That's my life. Now, I'm not complaining. I am pointing out the obvious dedication to one's craft and the intentionality of doing the same thing over and over and over again and never get bored doing it. Do I get bored covering a cake? Oh, hell yeah. Could I be doing something else? No. Okay. I don't want to do anything else. I want to make cakes. I want to be a mom. I want to have control over my life. And God willing, that should be it for me, right? So when you see a perfectly presented cake, you're gonna have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give to achieve that? Which is why, if you've noticed, I get really passionate about how cakes are priced. I get really passionate. And I think it's one of the things that is likely to take me off. Not because I think I'm special. No. But if you know the value and the investment in managing and crafting one's skill, just so they can give you a cake that is worthwhile because you're buying it for a special occasion, then you wouldn't want to bargain it down. It's okay if you can't afford the cake. It's okay. I'm not mad about customers who can't afford custom cakes. And I was actually a little bit like when the Walmart drama happened. Walmart is pricing their cakes for what? Is it £25? And people are up in arms and cake makers are all mad about it. I'm like, what are you mad about? Times are hard, okay? This luxury that you want to sell for $2.50, which I do, by the way, it's not not affordable by everybody. Can you just have some perspective here? Okay, so I'm okay with people who cannot afford a cake, and I'm not even mad, and I have grace for them, and where I can I will support people and give them a cake if I have to. But cake making is hard. It's a lot of work. And anyway, that was me going on a tangent, but that is also an encouragement to you, the beginners, that when you are failing, don't give up. Okay, stick with it. And when you see a polished cake, don't feel as though it's impossible. In fact, what you should be finding out from yourself is how much time and yourself and investment you're going to make as achieving success. That's all. Now let's look at me going on a tangent, looking half white. Okay, people. Lasso kid. Okay. Thank you, people. I know there's been the chat happening without me over there. Look, when I am here making cakes, like as in decorating, it can be hard to kind of focus in the chat. But Tapeta, I know you guys are having fun over there. Tapeta, keep them happy. Lollipop, is she here? Well, we are going to be making lollipops cake after all of this, isn't it? Well, after we're done with this baby shower cake, we have lollipops cake to make. Ask me what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this thing here. Now we're going to go in here. So we can cut the excess fondant out. You want to sit it flush over here. Okay. Oh, cinnamon, darling, you're sat in hospital. Oh, lovely. I hope it all goes well for you. Yeah. Lolly. I said Lolly. Dolly. Yeah, custom cakes are expensive. But you know what? Just because they are custom cakes doesn't mean everybody needs it. You know? I mean, I will always be out here fighting for the business of custom cakes. But it's not a hill I'm willing to die on. Okay? It's not. Because can we all afford the things we want? No. Okay? Think about something you want in your life that you know your wallet and up to that standard. Okay, so I am completely open to the possibility that people may want something that they can sincerely not afford, and I'm not offended by it at all. What I think can be a little problematic is when cake makers assume the position as though everyone has to succumb to the belief that cakes are expensive, so everybody should accept that and should patronize that. No, you don't have to. And I have said time and again that, you know, what I do is a luxury. Is it a necessary luxury? I love it, and I want you to come and buy a cake from me. But I also know it's incredibly precious. Like I said, who's buying unless you have more zeros in your account than the regular person? Why are you paying £400 for a cake for your 7-year-old? Why? But if you have more zeros and you want to hire me for my skill, hello, you're welcome. People, send Cinnamon some love. It can't be easy. I've just moved the cake because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to apply some fondant here. Right, here's another tip. If you want to attach your cake to your cake board. There are several ways to do this, but one of the simple ways you can do that is make sure you just wet your fondant, because the fondant has glucose and other elements in it that will make it set hard. So what I've done is I've just added more water to it than I need, and what I'm going to do is spread it here until it's tacky, as in sticky, and it will look like royal icing. In the past I've done this with ganache, but because the cake is a fondant cake, I am looking for it to stick like glue. So as you can see, that's all I've done here. Mind you, the fondant covered board, I spoke about it when I started the decorating process. The fondant covered board is a 7-inch board. It has a ribbon trim. I chose this because it's the convenient choice I'm going for. Watch that I am not, when you're going to place your cake on your stand, you want to make sure your stand is steady. So the whole point of doing this is making sure my stand doesn't move around, which is why I have taken the turn mechanism out of it. Now I could simply, God, tell me I'm organized without saying I'm organized. Okay, bear with me, people. Right, I think right, so I'm going to transfer the cake, but to be able to transfer it, there are a few things to think about. When you're transferring a cake, your hand touching the cake can cause the cake to warm up, but it can also leave dents and marks. So you want to make sure when you're transferring the cake, you can transfer it with some help. Now, I sat it on here on the baking sheet here because it will make for convenient transfer. But if I go to hold the cake, I might leave a dent on it. So what I am trying to do here is transfer it easily using a simple method. Remember that the imperfection has to face me because it's the front of the cake. And for the cake board, the back is where the pin is, where the ribbon kind of overlays here. So remember that. But you're going to be seeing the back of the cake because I need to see it from the front so that I can settle the cake properly. So that's just a little detail whilst I am moving it. But now I'm going to get this. It's important. See the trouble? Right, let me just be careful here. Right, I have a problem where, oh, right, I've got it. Right, there you have it, right? But that's because I've got the palette knife, offset spatula. You can use a palette knife, but over here, I have moved the cake there. And what I'm gonna do is keep the cake lifted whilst I move the knife from underneath. Now I'm going to shift the cake into place, and whatever imperfection occurs, I will fix it. Oh, this is the part of cake decoration that sometimes I wonder how other people do it, because some days I'm like, could we do it any other way? Because this is not it, you know, because there are parts that makes me jumpy. I'm like, my heart doesn't feel great doing this. Right, in the meantime, let me just polish myself off so I don't look like I literally fell off. Right, we know the cake is covered. It's sitting on a board. Could the board be bigger? Yes. Why did I choose a small board? I don't know why. Right, but for what it is worth, I am just going to leave it on this board here just so that I have something to handle. So this makes the handling of the cake much easier. And I'm going to go back in. I think this is about one of the simplest cakes I have covered. Doesn't necessarily mean it's easier though. The trim is going to be covered with a Yeah, the trim is going to be covered with lace, so the imperfections you see are all going to be sealed off, right? Normally the recommendation is that if you're going to sit your cake on a board, make sure you have at least about 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches gap. And except I have less than an inch here. It's a 6-inch cake sitting on a 7-inch board. Too close and too tight, but these are some of the, you could almost get away with it when you're making a cake for family. These are the cakes that I almost like use for adventures and practice work and things that I will normally not do to a customer cake. So let's see. Okay, that's all in there. I think I also chose the design simply because I knew that I was going to use it as a moment to tutor. Okay. Right, there you go. So there we have it. Now for the flowers, I chose the flowers because they are some of the most simplistic ways you can decorate a cake without much effort. Okay, so if you're a beginner, artificial flowers are your friend. Okay, they are definitely your friend, and that's what I am going for. Again, there's a little bit of the excess fondant that has been the sticky fondant, and I'm just sticking a fondant bowl here. It's squished. The reason being, it has to be squishy because I am going to put leaves in it. Remember, even though this is a baby shower cake, it doesn't look like a baby shower cake, does it? It's what you call a gender neutral cake. So everything else about it has to not give away the gender. And I don't know the gender, by the way, but gender neutral cakes don't have to be white. I am just poking the fondant. Gender neutral cakes don't have to necessarily be white. Okay, I just chose the white option because white serves as a canvas over which you can put any and everything, and the leaves are always going to be easy, rustic and easy to add on. And plus, I knew it was going to be sunny. I didn't want to overwork my fondant, so I didn't want to color my fondant. So my intention has affected my choices, the choices that I have made. Now, why am I sticking the leaves into the fondant? It's a very beginner friendly way of doing that. It also allows you to be able to lift off your decorative elements without that affecting the cake at all. So in fact, even as a pro, I have done this over the years, okay, because there is a recommended way of adding flowers to a cake, and it can be tricky to achieve if you're a beginner. So sticking that through the fondant then serves as a barrier, okay? Because if you're putting flowers into your cake, you are expected to create a barrier. It's called a food safe barrier because flowers go through a lot of places. Never mind where you bought them, okay? But they go through different places and you don't even know where they're coming from. So you can't stop that, but you also have to think about how they affect this thing called cake, the food you are creating called cake. So they are sort of one of my easiest options to go for, if you like. And for my roses, I am creating a hole there and then I'm sticking it through the fondant, right? Can you see? Minimal effort. Now, if I had a gold topper, I will stick it over the side and it's all baby. So when you see a cake like that, there is no doubt it's a baby shower cake. Because sometimes you don't have to go for the, if you took away these flowers and then added a selection of a certain or a personalized collection of flowers, you could easily swap this cake into a wedding cake. And we've actually been doing all of this in the short time that we have been here. So now I'm going to go in and fill the cake with filler flowers. So here's a tip for you. If you're a beginner sitting there scratching your head wondering, can I do this? If you're a beginner and you want to get into the cake decoration, try and get yourself to understand floral arrangement. It is one of the best ways to get exquisite, beautifully presented cakes with minimal effort. Because look at what we've done here. If I just lifted off the fondant barrier and I put another barrier, and then imagine we had red roses, we had some different colors of flowers, and arranged that from here cascading down, and then we put a wedding theme. We've swapped this cake completely to a wedding cake with such minimal effort. You know, I could have decided to go for a whole ensemble of decorations. We're talking stenciling and everything else, but the trim is going to be covered with gold ribbon. We're going to stick the old baby in front, but the person the cake is for will put their own decorations. So I mean, I won't labor the point. All I'm saying is that be imaginative, okay? And there are certain skills that are definitely transferable in cake. I'm just adding the polystyrene gold balls into the fondant as highlight so that it will complement the lace. I'm being intentional about it. And here's a fun fact. I took on this cake knowing that I wasn't going to do anything else more than using what I already had. Okay, and I guess the biggest currency I have is the skill I bring to the table. Okay, but you've seen me do this. You've seen me literally do this. So you can too, right? Now, let me just get the ribbon so we can finish this off. And then we know that we got this done. Baba, pass the ribbon for me, the gold one, please.
Is there any of the muffin bits left, by the way?
I need them for content. I saw you ate them. Pass the scissors too, please. Thank you. Did you like them?
Yeah.
They are very rich.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get underneath. And by the way, you can change the flower placement depending on your preference. You can center it, you can get it as a cascade. It's neither here nor there. Now the bottom of the cake is just going to have, I just went for a very classic looking vintage inspired baby shower cake. I'm just cutting it at an angle here, and then what we're going to do is okay, people, there you have it. So we're going to have there you go. So this would pass as a wedding cake. And yeah, let's see if putting the oh baby right now, the oh baby is a small detail. It's actually a lazy thing I put up there, but the family friend would have their own decoration. I actually made this really quickly just so that I can come and show you. Okay, that is a little bit tricky. Let's see. Okay. 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 I should let this set. And if you've been on here, you'll find that I normally recommend to let your elements set, but that's all part of the course of a tutorial. So let's see. There you go. our baby shower cake done. It's tend to face you. What do you think? If you received this as your gift for a baby shower, what would you say about it? The truth about a white cake is that it's a canvas for any type of cake you want to make. It's a canvas cake for any type of cake you imagine or think you want to make. Now, could I have gotten the edges a little more polished? Yes. But you know what? I'm not going to die on the heel of doing things that are unattainable in the moment. And right now, I am looking to inspire you and help you get along with decorating without making this harder. I did think about texturing the surface, but then again, I gave up on it. On this note, you could add, if you wanted to enhance the decorative details here, I wouldn't go for a fondant stamped detail. The fondant stamp detail means that you can bring the theme to light without buying extra decorative elements outside of this. So that's where you have the fondant stamp detail. It will cost you in time, but you save yourself maybe 5 to 10 pounds depending on where you're shopping for your topper. I mean, when I've gone for a solid acrylic as a keepsake, that will set you back about 18 pounds because it's made of quality material. So depending on your option, you'll have a minimum of at least 8 pounds and going all the way up to a maximum of 18 pounds. And that is the old baby topper. But you can choose a selection of titled toppers for your themed cake. And yeah, that's where we are with this. But if I took off these flowers, supposing I wanted a birthday cake, I will probably add a bit more color to the flowers, and then you have happy birthday. So the thing about a white cake is that it can be a background for any type of theme you are going for. And for this particular theme, bear with me. And for this particular cake, I'm just going to chop off, this bit here, and then bring it here just to bring some sort of balance to the floral arrangement over here. Right. So there we have it. Our cake is all done. Okay. I think my original screen has kind of died now. So let's go and see. Looks like there are chats happening, and I am literally. Let's see. Yeah, there you have it. So we have, I actually like the simplicity of this cake and the minimal effort. When you look at it, if this was displayed at a wedding, you would think, oh, that's a very beautiful cake, but it's very minimalistic in terms of effort, and I am so happy I made it. Now, here is my cake all done. It will serve 24 people, and it is a baby shower cake. Now whilst you kind of salivate over how pretty the cake looks, let's tidy our workspace out. And let's get to catching up a little bit before we are done, okay? Lollipop, darling, I'm happy. You know what, Lollipop, I was thinking about you when I undertook the fondant covering, because yesterday, remember, I didn't want the fondant, and I thought, you know what, this might be a trick, because I think when we do come to making your panda cake, this might be the best way to cover your panda cake. Oh, I must say, Lollipop, I did check your community post. Your comments are not active, so I couldn't comment on it. And I knew I was going to come back to the live to talk to you about it. And if you're wondering what we are talking about, Lollipop is friend to the channel and our moderator in there. She has a cake coming out on the 28th, but we are taking on the cake as a challenge, and then we are going to make the exact cake she wants, or at least a variation of it, so that it's a resource. So consider it a pre-booked class that you're all going to be involved in. It's a carrot cake filled with cream cheese frosting, completed as a fondant covered panda themed cake for her daughter, you know. So that's what we are going to be doing. And the thing about this challenge that I love is that it is going to put my skill through the lens of stripping back all the expert knowledge that I have and making it completely beginner friendly for you to achieve for yourself at home. Because the intention is that we will make this so that Lollipop can come back and watch the video and follow it specifically just so she can finish her own cake in her own time. Yeah, I am kind of excited. Lollipop, I would say when I saw the 3 images, I was almost, my go-to was your first one, which was the fun. The first one was it the cupcakes, and then there was stripe, and then the third one was the panda, but it was buttercream. So I prefer the third cake, but not in buttercream, a fondant version of that buttercream cake. You could make it a buttercream cake, but I wonder if you actually want a buttercream cake, because the piping is going to be, can you pipe? Because you have to choose your battles. So if you wanted to make it a buttercream cake, we have to think about it, because you're going for cream cheese. So you know what? That cake could actually be a buttercream cake, but it's an option, because the amount of piping and buttercream that goes on that cake will overwhelm your carrot cake. So the good thing is that the intention from what we chose to the design options that are available are informed by everything we know and our whys. Okay? Lollipop says the buttercream cake is too spiky, gives her the creeps. Right, there you go. Right, so we are tidying out the workspace because our cake is now done. I'm actually happy about this cake. Who is having a wedding and who wants a wedding cake like this? I actually dream of a day when our channel will grow, and then I'll be able to create a series making wedding cakes for people for free. Did I just say that out loud? Okay. Let me just rephrase that. Making it for free on the basis that we can film some aspects of it for content. Okay, that's all. At least I'm being upfront about it, but it's not supposed to be anything garish or like anything manipulative. It's like, okay, you want a cake? What is exciting? It's like, I want a cake, but why? And then I'll take you through the entire process, and then we'll film it, parts of it, you know, because it's not like we're creating a documentary style video, is it? It's always going to be about 10 to 12 minutes. And the process, even admin, talking to clients about custom cake, can take hours, okay? So yeah, I am excited about that in the future. By the way, in the meantime, let's finish tidying, and then we can talk about the horrid muffins and what to expect in the video that is to come. It is my messiest video yet, but hey, we live for the imperfection because it's progress, okay? Cinnamon, I know I've been stood here yapping. I just read in there that you were sat in the hospital waiting for the hubby and some tests. We're sending you our love and best wishes for all of that, okay? Come back and tell us how well it went. Not that, what am I even saying? We hope it goes well for you, my dear. Look after yourself though, right? And have a good day, right? Dolly said you can make a 20th anniversary cake. Is that your 20th anniversary, Dolly? Dolly. Auntie Akuya. Yeah, I will look forward to seeing you next time, Cinnamon. All the best, my love. Sending you so much love, right? If you're still in the chat and you haven't liked the video, you are a hater, okay? You are hating. No, I'm kidding. People, I am kidding, right? Look, we came, we brought a bare looking cake that looked like nothing. We've got it all covered. You should like the video. You should. I'm kidding, okay? Because I'm bringing you value. Oh, okay. Darling. Antioquia. Antioquia. You know what? So, Antioquia, would you like me to make your 20th birthday, 20th anniversary cake? Like, seriously, Antioquia. Okay. Antioquia. I don't like commitment, but for what it is worth, yeah, why not? Yeah? Why not? Maybe we can make something, we can make an exciting concept about it. I don't know. Let's talk about it. But yeah, I'm up for it. All things being equal, I'll be happy to make you a 20th anniversary cake. How exciting will it be? Like, I made a subscriber. Well, you're more than a subscriber. You're a friend to the channel, okay? And you're a friend and an acquaintance. And yeah, okay? So, yeah. Dare I say it, Antioquia. Antioquia, don't give up hope. Because you know me. The email never came. The text hasn't come. But no, this is important. Okay? Antioquia, I've been honest. I've told you. I'm great at what I do. I just don't like the admin part. The admin part always has me like... The admin part has got prawn cocktail leaving the whole channel. Why? Because she emailed me. Okay, the poor girl, poor girl has initiative. She wants to help the channel grow. And guess what she did? She went all the way up there. She set up a whole, what do you call it? Tapeta and lollipop, you would know. She set up a whole, what is it called? That thing over there, Discord, right? And she emailed me and she was like, oh, you need to send some information. Look, I never got to respond to the email. First of all, I am terrible at emails. And then I got poorly. And the poor girl thought I was ignoring her. So she's left me a whole message about how she didn't want to be here anymore. And I'm like, dang. Look, unknown, I am sure if any of my prospective clients are watching this video, they're probably scratching their head and deleting my number, okay? Because a lot of them are sitting in my inbox right now. I kid you not. There are voice messages in my phone from prospective clients. It's embarrassing, okay? Right? But why am I telling you that? I am telling you what running a business and being the person behind it looks like. At least for me and my circumstance, I'm failing horribly at other things, but I'm winning at other things, okay? Remember the part where I made the commitment I was going to be here 3 days a week? Mark the part where I've been poorly. I've committed because commitment scares me, because telling you I will do something means I want to show up. And some days I have to battle with my own spirit not to do the thing. Okay? So, darling, see you later. Aisha, take care. Aisha, great to have you, and see you later, my lovely. Okay? Carolyn, hello, my lovely. You're back. Great to have you, right? So, I am telling you, running a business, as we are growing, I will have to enlist help. At the moment, I have a certain amount of help, okay? But it's not enough, because even if I outsource the increase to a VA, the VA doesn't know anything about cakes. So they are going to have to respond to customers and influence the part where customers are left waiting, which is actually not acceptable in running a professional, organized business. It's not. It's not professional to just leave. If you're on holiday, you should be on top of it so customers are informed, right? But maybe there is a bigger issue that is worth addressing another time, because the bigger issue is that I am actually in the process of resetting and readapting my business and what I intend it to be like. So taking customer orders are not a priority in the immediate time. That's important, in the immediate time. And you know what? You'll find out in life that life is about balancing. You don't win it all the time. When people tell you they're winning at everything, you want to ask specific questions about what they're winning all the time. Okay? It's my face and my name here. If I ever had someone to replace me here, will I be open to that idea? Yes. Okay? That is if we grew to an extent where it required somebody who had my skill and ability to come and engage and interact with you. It's possible. I'm not against it, right? But at the moment, you're here because of me and what I do. And I can't do anything else. I have to get help about my own family life and circumstance. You wonder, whilst I'm here, what's happening to my other life as a mom and other aspects of it. So I say that as an encouragement to you that if you're running a business and you feel like you haven't got it together, it's okay. Aim to improve. Aiming to improve is key. Maintaining focus and being kind to yourself is important to grow in. But if you're winning at other things, reevaluate where your priorities are. And yeah, you may want to get help, but the question is, can you afford it? Okay, can you? That's something to think about. But that said, yeah, the customers, if they're watching, they're probably mad as hell over here. Dolly says, it's really difficult to attend to it all. I'm a dental nurse. You work 8:30 to 4. And I bet, Dolly, your morning doesn't start at 8:30. Your morning starts hours and hours long before 8:30 because you've got to get up, get ready, make sure the family have breakfast. Whatever you do over there, your morning is earlier than 8:30. Okay, and then you go to work from 8:30 to 5:45. Consider drive time to get home, make sure the family is taken care of, and then you move on to other things. Oh, lovely, it's hard. Sometimes you'd, oh, so I think you understand me now, Dolly. Don't worry, we're two peas in a pod. I understand. Dolly had two. Look, having a whole professional job is a whole thing. Trying to run a business. And by the way, Dolly, do you mind us discussing your intention for the future? Transitioning from what you're doing now to hopefully running your business full time. Because you know what? Let me say this out loud. If you have the intention of transitioning, I will say don't quit yet. If there is a chance for you to scale back, because quitting and pursuing your passion is not what it's made out to be. Come talk to me, okay? Right? She has two brides messaging her about their wedding cake. Look at you. Oh, you know what, Dolly? Keep at it. That's the price of chasing your goals. But don't forget to look after you. You're only one vehicle trying to achieve all of these things. These days, you know what? I have accepted what I can do and what I cannot. And I keep having to apologize for it. Last week, my personal inbox and personal messages was full with messages from people who genuinely, this had nothing to do with business, you know, these were people in my life who genuinely were texting to check on me. You know what? Where the phone was a whole different, to find the phone was a whole thing. Until I had a call from a couple of close family members. That's like, girl, you're right. And we caught up and it was lovely. And it felt like I felt so guilty. It almost feels like you're making excuses for the things you can't do. However, it's important to keep perspective, to prioritize, and know what you are doing. Okay? When morning comes, like I can tell you every hour of this morning what I've done. I can tell you what is on my list of priorities, the most important thing, the place I have to kind of ground my feet, the people that I still have to keep like close. And you can't achieve all of this success without sacrificing something, but you've got to be aware what you are sacrificing. I don't subscribe to the hustle culture where you hustle till you drop dead and you cut everybody off to make it, because that's not my idea of happiness. Okay, if somebody else can achieve that, great for them, but I also don't feel like I can pour out to you can't keep pouring out to everybody at the same time. So you have to continuously reevaluate where you are and hope that you're able to communicate your intention with goodwill and empathy to the people around you, because running a business and chasing your dream and lifing, it's just hard. That's all. That's it. We've made the cake. It's amazing. Right. I love my job. I love my baking. Let's just say, if you squint, you Dolly, remember, I did say to you, let's unpack this a little bit. So take this as a consultation session to re-evaluate your objectives moving forward. Okay. Take a pen and a paper. Sometimes the way we feel about things, especially things that is comfortable around us, it is completely different when you put a pen to paper. So Dolly, don't do anything until you've put a pen to paper and determined the goals of what you are doing now as a dental nurse, the advantages it brings to your life, because there's a reason why you have a job, and the job is not just about money. Okay, there's more to a job than just going to it, but sometimes you just have to go to a job to earn an income. That's okay, that is completely fine. But put a pen to paper. All that you have done up until this point, whatever has informed your choice to become a dental nurse, put a pen to paper and look back and read out loudly what that means to you. And then compare it to what it would look like sacrificing that for this thing in the future, which is the uncertainty of this thing you want to do, which is running a business of your own. When you've done that, and believe me when I say you're not going to find the answer straight away, okay, you're not, but it should be front of mind. The idea of transitioning from one thing to another shouldn't be on a whim. It should take intentionality, it should take effort, it should take inner conversation and introspection. By the way, I would say it should also involve talking to the people around you. But at this point, that doesn't matter. I'll tell you why. Because most people that love us, who would want to support us, will give us the advice and support based on their perspective. It is influenced by their views of the world and the fears they have. So trust me, any person with a brain cell, if you went and told them you wanted to give up the job that earns you an income, that helps you support your family and do all of these great things over here, supports a decent life, a fairly self-sufficient life over here, to give it up and then go and do this thing that is not guaranteed. Most people will be like, girl, go and have a drink and go and sleep and wake up next day and let's talk about something else. Okay? And that intention is set in a good place. And there are going to be times where You are even going to question the choices you made. But you have to have such delusion. And yes, I said it, delusion. Okay? You have to have the blind naivete and self-delusion to know that this is what you want and you're going for it. However, that's the however. However, with your delusion, don't wake up and sleep on the sofa. Be aware of what you are going to give to pursue the success of that delusion you're living with. And trust me, when you are faced with that reality, the whole idea will disappear so fast before you know it. The whole idea of, I want to run my own business over here, will disappear because you will feel a certain level of fear, and you will find out that the commitment, your 9-to-5 job, at best you have an annoying boss, precious client, a backbiting work colleague you don't even care, like things that are like every day in life. If you're not a nurse and you're a lawyer, you will encounter such issues all the same. So sometimes the idea of giving up what we have just for something else in the future, besides the fact that it is the pursuance of our own passions and a self-fulfilling life, sometimes the whole idea is perpetrated by our need to abscond from the inconveniences of our everyday life. Okay? I know it. And then you give all that up to go and pursue this thing where you will have the same problem. By the way, the customers are precious. They would text you at night. They would send you a message and go, how much? Dolly, I can have this conversation with you. It will take forever. However, if you are passionate about something enough, nothing is going to stop you. Nothing. But that nothing should be set in a tangible self introspection and strong self-belief. Okay? And I mean strong self-belief and a work ethic that is next to nothing. That is what will guarantee the success. Never mind, there are going to be times where just because you transition doesn't mean you're transitioning to a business that is booming. You're going to be building the business, which means you're going to be losing more than you are getting. It's a fact of business building. And by the way, your first business doesn't necessarily mean you're going to even succeed at it. I started this whole thing thinking I wanted to make cakes. And I've said it time and again, I like the artistry of cake making. I don't like it as a business where the business is, I made you a beautiful cake, I'm selling it. I don't like that. It's ironic. It's taken me nearly 10 years to find that out. And actually, it was that the conflict. I knew I loved the cakes, but I also knew I needed something to do with it. I can't wake up and just make beautiful cakes as a hobby every day. It's expensive. I can't afford it. Okay? Waking up and making cakes as a hobby, it's expensive. Okay? So I was like, why do I feel this way? And I didn't have the answer. And you know what was even worse? I didn't know anybody who felt like I felt. Most people just wanted a day job, and if anything, they wanted me to make them free cakes. That's all. So I was left having to find my own answers on my own journey. And my circumstances are always going to be completely different from yours. So I cannot even give you a blueprint on how to get to where you are, because my journey, my choices, what influences the decisions I make are completely going to be different from yours. What will inform your choices, though, are generally universal. The principles of running a business, the hard work and commitment that goes into it, how you have to adapt, how you have to perceive failure and define your own success is just a generalized principle. But the journey itself is highly individualistic. So these people who are out here telling you, pay me money and I will show you how to run a successful business, I have a lot of feelings about that. And that's all. Okay. You know, I'm always going to keep it a little too real with you over here, Dolly. But yes, never mind that I haven't responded to your emails. I will clock you mentally for your 20th anniversary cake. I'm sure we can make something excited about it. But let me just sit with that and see. Who knows where we will be 1st of May. It's a long commitment to make, and you know what I feel like. But you know what? Always, always great to at least be open to an adventure. Okay, Leslie, Ganja Leslie is back. Every time I say Ganja Leslie, I'm like, the name is so unique, I cannot forget it. Leslie, how are you? We finished our cake. The cake we started, was it yesterday? Well, yesterday you were here, right? Was it yesterday or the day after? We made the cake. Anyway, let's tidy up and let's be done with our session today. Oh, it was so you were here when we were doing the baking, right? And then yesterday we came and we covered it in fondant. And then today, no, yesterday we covered it in ganache. And today we finished it as a fondant cake. There we are. So it's a cake for 15, but it serves 24 anyway. So there we have it. It's all done. Yes, it's a gender neutral baby shower cake. Yeah. So we went for a white canvas over which we added complementary decorative details. We don't know the gender, and yeah. So we have these flowers here do not actually show anything, do they? But hey, who knows? There might be a sign in there. Not that I know anything. That is just by the way. So yeah, we kind of put it together. You're feeling a little bit sore. Oh, hope you feel better, Leslie. By the way, people, we've managed to cover our cake. We have talked about the price of chasing your own dream, okay? And succeeding, defining your own success, and hopes for the future. So, Dolly, darling, come and talk to me about this whole thing, and let's see where we will take it. But I will say, darling, don't go and quit the job just because. You have to, at some point, you're going to have to embrace it. You're going to embrace the new change in your life. And that's okay. But it should be something you should really, really think carefully about. Okay? Dolly. But Lollipop, when we are back here next, I'm kind of thinking I might be back tomorrow, but I don't want to make that promise. Okay? Oh, Ardy, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Ardy, right? You're back with us, and it's always great. You know what? I kind of know that their lives have now become a community of their own, okay? And sometimes some of you are even here for the chat that you have with each other. You're not here for me, and that's okay. Okay, I know, but I'm so happy that you guys, some of you have found community in each other, and you kind of like catch up and talk to each other. It's fantastic. I am so, because that either way helps the channel nonetheless, because it means that you're getting a little more value. So whether you're interested in cakes or not, you're still here because you have some online friends that you can come and communicate with. And the platform only serves as a conduit for that. And I am completely up for all of that. I'm very grateful for your company, time, and attention. That said, Tapeta, I know you're here for both of. I think you're here for more than me and cake and everything else. You're here for jollof rice. Okay? Tapeta is here for jollof, okay? Tapeta is here for Ghanaian spiced chicken. Tapeta is here for rye plantain and bean stew. Okay, Tapeta is up here for everything I have to offer. And it's the same because I am looking forward to sitting by the fireplace. I don't know if I want to go swimming with Tapeta. I don't trust you. Tapeta, I'm playing with you. Okay. But looking for, probably want to hug your mom. Okay. And everything else. And yeah. See, but Tapeta, I'm not even British. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I'm actually not. I'm actually not kidding. I'm not British. I'm black. No, I'm kidding. Oh dear, there are black people. You know what? That's okay. By the way, I'm Ghanaian by nationality. Dolly out here talking about she's made white. Dolly, stop it already. Stop it. Because Dolly, you were out here making kenke on Christmas Day and making banku and tilapia. Now, that is personal. Dolly, stop it already. Because right now, you know what I want? I want turkey tail. For those of you who don't know, these are Ghanaian cuisines and delicacies. So, yeah. I don't know if I can say the words I am reading. What is... I am seeing some words that are a little bit like, okay, I don't know. People? Leslie, maybe I missed what you were saying. Why are you so, my darling, if you don't mind me asking? Maybe I missed the earlier message. Have you gone running? What have you been doing? I'm just being nosy. Caroline. Yes. Caroline is asking if Ghana is a Commonwealth nation. Yes, it is part of the Commonwealth. Yeah. Oh, okay. You've been gymming. Okay. Right. Not that I would know anything about the gym, darling. I am a lazy one. I just like to eat cake and I like to lie down. Is that bad? I just like to eat cake and just lie down. Just lie down and not do anything. Oh, Lollipop. Lollipop is out here unpicking the British slang. So, class chat, people. You know what? You've got to give yourself a treat day. Okay, so Fridays are your treat day. I'm not mad. It's okay. Yeah, Caroline, I know you were in the Commonwealth, but because did you say you were Jamaican descent? I think you said. I may be wrong. Forgive me, but yes. Yeah, British people nibbles. Okay, so Caroline, I clocked that. Okay, I'm so happy I didn't get that wrong because I hate sometimes I try to register people specifically and I don't think I forget you, but some days I kind of question myself whether I am referring to another person instead of one. I know you're in, is it Michigan? And yeah, Tapita is in Oregon. Lollipop is just my neighbor out here in the UK. Okay, so in the US there is popcorn. Oh, okay, covered with caramel nuts. Okay, Chicago. Caroline, why do I keep? You know what? I will associate Chicago because Kanye comes from Chicago. So in my mind, so I never forget. Because last time I was asking the same question whether it's Chicago or Michigan, and who was saying they are like, is it neighbors or something next state to the other? But yeah, forgive me, my dear. Yeah, somebody says British comedy is their favorite. Yeah, it is very subject centered and politely sarcastic, isn't it? But that's a generalization. Who is putting big English in there like that? RD in, I can't even pronounce the word. People that say I'm out, okay? English is not my first language. Yeah, Aisha has to love us and leave us to go clean the car. Bye, darling. I'm sure we'll see you soon because we're here a lot. But you know what? Whilst we're talking about Britishness, which I know nothing about, can we talk about this mess a little bit? That is the muffins I baked yesterday. You will see in the video. It is my messiest video yet because the muffins were messy. Okay? Because you know what? The muffins, as you can see, look, moist, rich, yummy. Guess what I did though? When I first tried the recipe, they were just regular muffins. But in my mind, I thought because they were being baked in the cupcake tins, the cupcake cases, they just looked like cupcakes. And I was just desperate to make the difference between the cupcake looking muffin and a real muffin. But because I was baking in the middle of the night and I hadn't planned to get muffin cases, because last time I tried to do the DIY muffin cases, it just didn't work. So guess what? I decided right in the middle of baking. So people, bear this in mind when you watch the video, because this is the intention you never get to see in the video. Right in the middle of the video, I thought to myself, I want to add some chocolate pieces to the top of the muffin. And then I even wanted to elevate it by adding blueberry jam in the middle. Now what you will see is a mess of a rich muffin, a rich tasting, well-baked, moist muffin, decadent, I would even say, but hella messy. The whole thing was messy. Messy, messy, messy. But I didn't realize until I was filming when it was sticking to my hands and I'm like, look, I'm not even going to pretend. I'm going to show the entire thing. So you are going to see the entire mess. But I am here to tell you, these muffins are amazing. There's nothing wrong with the recipe, okay? There's nothing except my own misadventure. That's all. Okay? So, I am hoping they look delicious, RD. I hate it when I come here and I eat my food in front of you and I don't give you some. I hate it. Believe me. It doesn't mean I'm a do-gooder. I just want you to eat the cake and know that I'm a good baker. That's all. I'm being fictitious. But that said, Okay, the muffins are amazing. But because it's Easter, right? Here's what I'm thinking. Caroline low-key calling my manners out. I tell you what, the first cultural, some of the cultural shocks I experienced when I came to the UK, in my native Ghana, right, it is very customary and cultural that when you are served a plate of food, it doesn't matter who is in your surrounding, you invite them, and it's actually a thing. I know if you haven't experienced that before, it sounds like a strange concept. But imagine if my mom served me a plate of food and I was in the school cafeteria, right? Doesn't matter who is sat behind me or around me, whether they're a stranger or an acquaintance, I have to all say to them, you're invited. And the you're invited is a direct translation, okay? And the intention is to show hospitality, manners, and politeness. And when you say you're invited, you're not just saying it passively. It's intentional, and you intend that should the person accept your invitation, they can wash their hands and dip their hands in your food and eat with you. It's a cultural thing. If you don't know it, that's okay. So in my native Ghana, imagine growing up and having that as something you know, and have never known anything else when it comes to food and manners. Culturally, even though that is your intention, people become aware, and it doesn't necessarily mean that people will eat your food. But you are expected to pick up your food, sit down, and go, you're invited to the people in your company or around you. So, tell me why I was looking hella crazy at my workplace when these people, and you know who I am talking about, made their cups of tea and just walked past me, looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I used to think, would you not say anything? It took me a little minute. But then when my lunchtime came and I had my jollof rice to eat, I would still tell them, you're invited. And the conflict in their faces going, they weren't saying anything, but it was like, what are you saying? Why are you inviting me to your food? Because for them, it was literal. Like, you don't know me. Why are you inviting me to your food? And it took me a moment to kind of almost like unlearn and to know that I can have my food and not care about you and just eat my food and not feel guilty that I didn't show manners. So when I come to eat my cakes in front of you, I have to assume the non-Ghanaian person and just eat my cake. That's all. I'm glad you can relate, Caroline. Audi, you are my person. I'm glad I can find people who can relate to this experience, because the practice or culture of sharing one's food is actually such an intimate thing that because we or I grew up passively. Like you grow up doing it, but you don't kind of think, you are told, and then you grow up doing it because you're told to, but you also don't see anything wrong with it. And I never start to think about how intimate it is to share your food with people, even if it's showing etiquette. Until I grew, like it took me a very long time to actually appreciate how intimate, intentional, and empathetic that is. Because I have my food, I may be hungry, I don't want you in my dinner. But that's a little bit of other people's food experiences. So yeah, the messy muffin video should be headed your way. I am hoping that video will get to you before Easter, just so that I can create an Easter content. I don't know, but if you ever see this messy muffin, remember you saw it here first. Okay, it's messy, but it's lovely. Tabitha, I think what you're saying is true. Tabitha is saying in the chat, in America, we offer food and drink to our guests when they are over, but not directly off your plate unless you are close. True, we do the same. When you have guests in your house, you have to offer them plates, or you have to offer. In fact, you go out of your way to make sure that the way you even present their food to them is made special. So it's more intentional. But the idea or the concept of actually inviting people to your food is just a matter of cultural etiquette for us. So I could be sat here if I had a bowl of jollof rice, right, with chicken on it, and supposing you are my work colleague, we may not be super close, but we work together. I guess when I throw in work, it becomes professional. But I'm talking in our Ghanaian communities, it's a lot more communal. You'd find people, you know, your neighbors are up in your business, this is our culture. Our culture is such that you are not expected to be invited to a wedding. In fact, you are supposed to show up without invitation. And it's offensive if you have to actually ask, oh, can I come? And I'm talking if you're a neighbor or somebody who is in close proximity to the community organizing the wedding. So much of our interaction is very, very communal and community-centered. And such is our cultural etiquette around food and other things as well. So whilst the intention generally is to offer your guests food separately, it's not unusual for you to have a plate of food and to actually offer an acquaintance. Like, the direct translation is of what you say in Ghanaian language is, and I'm not saying Ghana doesn't have one language, by the way. When I say Ghanaian language, I am referring to tree. You say, I have something in front of me. Do you mind? And that is like the direct translation, but it's also inferred as you are invited. Okay, so there are different cultural like elements and stuff. But yes, I now know how weird it will feel if I just picked up my jollof rice and went out and said to my neighbor, "You're invited." They'll be looking at me crazy. What's wrong with you? Okay. Leslie is saying in Puerto Rico, yeah, I remember you saying that. I've always been used to offering, cooking, and even serving. See, like when people come, like it took me a long time to know that a friend can visit me and I don't have the obligation to want to cook for them. Okay, you can visit me and I can order you a pizza. It took me a long time because my Ghanaian culture obviously prioritizes care, and care is set in the actions of domestic things you do. So most most people like me probably, we don't expect that you tell us you're coming to my house, but I will appreciate a heads up so that I can make sure my house is clean, because cleaning my house is not just because my house is dirty, so I should clean it for you to come. There is an intention behind, I want to make the extra effort even though my house is clean, just so that you are hosted. There's obviously the sort of house proud element of it, but there's also the element of I care about you enough that I want you to have a great experience in my space. So even though my house is clean, I'm going to go the extra mile to clean it, and I'm going to cook for you, and I'm going to do all of these things. And then I lived in England for a very long time, and I was like, look, you can come in, you're welcome. Oh Lord. I know, Tabitha, you people. Tabitha, I know. I guess the whole point of this conversation is that there is not one culture is not better than the other. There are aspects of all cultures that probably needs to evolve with time, but understanding and holding the conversation about what influences people and their belief system and values because of their culture is important for educational purposes, because I doubt in Oregon, Tapita, you would have met a Ghanaian girl telling you about jollof rice. But that's the beauty of the internet, okay? That's the beauty of the internet, that whilst we are learning about cakes, we are also learning about each other, okay? We are learning about each other. You are now walking away with some sort of understanding of what someone like me. And it's not just in the lens of me. I try, whilst my experience and being is very unique, it is not the perspective from which life is formed generally, okay? So if you took me out of the picture and you put another person like me and they behaved similar to me, you may be able to have some sort of understanding before even engaging them in a conversation, and it kind of would make it easier for you. Because as human beings, we are meant to engage and interact with each other. And in such a divisive world where sometimes we are warring with each other, which is generally set in the confusion, the lack of understanding, and an unwillingness to even want to understand each other. Some days it's like, I don't want to know what you know, or I don't even care to know about you, but I'm going to judge you, okay? I'm going to judge you so bad that it's going to cause division. I don't subscribe to that. And hopefully our space is safe in that way. But we'll come back and see what this feels like when we hit 1 billion subscribers. Okay? It's safe now. It's safe. Oh. The world is big and scary sometimes, and there are some bad people everywhere. You know what? Even in the Garden of Eden, there was a bad person there. Who would have thought? There was a bad, subtle snake in the garden. Okay? So it would never be perfect. Be open to being informed and engaged. Apply caution, discernment, and wisdom. And that's all. That's all I've got to say for today. Okay? That's all I've got to say for today. If you're just joining us in the chat, you are too late because we're done now. Okay? With Caroline, have a great one. Great to have you, and always a pleasure catching up with you. I will remember that you come from Chicago and not Michigan. Okay? I don't know why I've sent you off to Michigan. Okay? For the rest of you, RD, Les, I hope you are well rested and go back to the gym, do what you do, and all the best with that. Tapita and Lollipop, as ever, complete pleasure. You keeping the chats engaged and going. For those who couldn't make it till this point, all of you, if you watch this back on replay, lots of love to you. Thank you for your time and attention. If you see me here tomorrow, God willing, that will be great, because we have to come back and do Tapita's cake. And then we can move on quickly to Easter things. So I said Tapita, Lollipop. So who knows? But if you don't see me tomorrow, you will see a video on Sunday, which is not the messy video yet. The messy video will be sometime next week. But either way, I'll keep in touch in the community post, in the comment section. And I'm sure I'll see you there too. All the best.